Welcome to our web exclusive. I'm Mike Montecalvo, along with Eyewitness News analyst Lieutenant General Reginald Centracchio. General, the latest developments on that bipartisan budget deal. Both the House and Senate have come to an agreement. It lays out government spending till September 2015. Some people like it, some people don't. Most say it doesn't go far enough. Your opinion?
Well, it depends on where you're looking at it from. If you look at it from the Democratic point of view, there's a need, in their opinion, that we should have a continuation of the unemployment situation. If you look at it from the Republican side, they think it should be deeper cuts. Consequently, what we're going to do is look at something in the middle, apparently. But having said this, it needs to go to the full House and full Senate before it goes anywhere.
All right, we're talking right now about $23 billion on Wednesday. It replaces billions of dollars on automatic spending cuts known as the sequestration. So that's where the rub is, because it could go to Congress and they could wipe out even more.
Exactly. And in fact, I talked earlier with someone from the Guard in reference to what this budget meant in reference to the current operation of the Guard. And as much as the budget's one thing, sequestration is another, and certainly the debt ceiling is another. So when you put all that together, it could in fact mean that we'll have continuation of cuts for the military, and the Congress could even make it deeper. And that's exactly where we need to, where it's going to end up.
All right, General, is this separate from the cuts we already know the Pentagon has to make?
No, I'm under the impression that that $10 billion they were talking about several months back will continue. Sequestration is another animal that we'll have to continue with. There's a bit of a relief as it relates to some possibilities on this agreement, but it will only deal with the mission, the federal mission of the military, including the Guard, and not have any other continuing programs such as community programs.
And you're talking about like the Air Show and Leap Fest, something like that?
Exactly. The Air Show and Leap Fest would be two ideal examples. We can have open houses, apparently, providing it doesn't incur any additional expense from the budget of the Guard.
You know, we're talking in December of 2013, you know, wiping out $23 billion. But what happens if there's unrest in the Middle East? What happens about North Korea and, let's say, Syria?
All bets are off. It's not a budgeted item. Surely if there's something significant that happens, we'll have to ramp up and deal with it, similar to what we did in each of the past situations. We have a limited ability to forecast military involvement. On one hand, we're taking down the military out of Afghanistan. On one hand, we need to look at contingencies, perhaps, of putting them back somewhere else. And so that's the uncertainty of the whole budget itself.
Well, Senator Tom Coburn out of Oklahoma, he's a Republican. He says he does not like it. He says it doesn't go far enough to cut the deficit, and the deficit right now at $17 trillion. So where do they go to cut this deficit?
Exactly. You know, sequestration was supposed to take care of that based upon a bipartisan approach a couple of years ago. And here we are looking at the same challenge as it relates to taking down the debt, taking down the national deficit, and looking at ramping up other social programs such as unemployment entitlements. So it's the same money. Depends on where it's going to go. And that's the challenge, I think, that we're going to face with the full House and full Senate.
General, I think it's important to say that we're also talking about higher fees right now. Federal civilian, military workers, airline travelers, so if you're going to be on a plane, and healthcare providers who treat Medicare patients would bear much of this cost that we're talking about here.
Exactly, and therein lies a huge, huge problem. You know, unless the providers are going to absorb that increase in fee, it's unlikely that we're going to be able to pass that on to the recipient, such as military. Military is normally covered by Medicare with a TRICARE supplement to offset the 20% that's not paid by Medicare. Well, in some cases, the degradation of Medicare will impact on TRICARE, meaning that the eventual individual who will have to take the cut will be the provider. And that's going to be a tremendous, tremendous burden, I think, on the entire healthcare system.
All right, and of course, this is a fluid situation. We're going to stay on top of this. General Centracchio, thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.